Okay, my journey to graduation, reflections of lessons I learned in school. My students will be completing a project for the end of the year dealing with their journey through their education process through their schooling, I should say. They will do a multimodal project at the end where they were presented to class. They'll also be incorporating literature for the overall project at the end. And their main audience at the end will also be their family members. In the beginning, though, the first thing I will have them do is I'll have them write a personal narrative, and I'm going to remind them of all the literature that we've covered throughout the semester that deals with journeys, obstacles, finding a personal truth. And we'll review those pieces and talk about what these characters found or what they concluded. I'll remind them that they are 60 days away from graduating, and I'll ask them through their journey, what did they learn? And the threshold I connected this to was 1.0 by Rusin. And then the next one, we'll begin the end of the year. So we'll do a personal narrative. Their final project will be for their family. This first piece will it will be an explanatory. They want to like really explore. They'll write 2 to 3 pages. There will be some creativity to how they organize it. But they don't necessarily have to do an expository. The 5 paragraph essay or anything like that. They can be creative. So I will allow students to do like subheads, or they can do it as a letter. But I'm looking for 2 to 3 pages. I'm looking for Times New Roman, pretty much MLA format. They can deviate, but it would still have to have some consistency. Like there would have to be a reason for that deviation, and have to be quite apparent why. So for this first round, their audience will be me, of course, and then their peer editing team. They have a group of 2 or 3, actually they have a group of 4 kids that are their peer editing that they've been working with all semester, so they can really get to know each other and get to know each other's writing and to know what they need to keep improving upon. So their content, we're going to work with diction and figurative language. I'm going to really push them to see themselves as writers. So I want them to employ the techniques that we've observed in our professional writers. As we analyze Maya Angelou, and we analyze Sherman Alexie, and who else? Tim O'Brien. I mean, we've analyzed all these professional writers, identifying literary techniques, and they need to be employing them too, and learning how to use those as their own writers. So I like this comment: understand the rhetorical work of writing is essential if writers are to make informed, productive decisions about which genres to employ, which languages to act, which text to reference, and so on. So I really believed in the 1.0 for this section. The part 2 is scaffolding and supporting. And I think what we'll do is the very first day we will do brainstorming with our peer editors, and I'm going to put a whole bunch of different questions in a box or in a cup for each group. And what I think we'll do is we'll spend maybe the whole class period where they will just take turns pulling questions out of the hat basically and start sharing. And once they're done with the story, they pass the hat to the next person, and then they pull out, and whatever they get out of that hat they have to address. And we'll leave it up to the team if they want to allow them one pass, but they're going to share with each other and really start. I hope to hear laughing. I hope to hear, oh, I agree, oh, that's a good idea. And I hope to hear some bonding happening, and some opening up with each other, and making connections, and reminiscing. And I hope it's a really good exercise. If we have time remaining in the class, well, I think we'll dim the lights, and we'll play some soft music, and I'll let them stretch out and move around, and they can either handwrite or they could type, but it's going to be just this free write of what they learned, what they remembered, what they shared, and just be all over the place. And then I want them to not look at it, and I'm going to have them go away. Maybe if it's handwritten, I'll collect it. And then the next day, I'll have them get them back out and share it together. Share it together as their group. And what motifs do they see? What threads? What themes do they see developing? Do they see like one little area that would
It's
make a great
12:45.
personal narrative? Maybe they start laughing and like, oh yeah, you've got to talk about this. You learned about this. And I'll also share these links. I found a wonderful website that has several student models of personal narratives. And so I'll let them have time to do that. So we'll spend a whole period just sharing our free writes, reading other examples, talking about those other examples, and that will be our scaffolding and the support. Then for revising, I really like this video clip from Kate Messner, and she pretty well talks about shitty drafts. Just as Colin Brook and Allison Carr say, you know, writers have to have these really bad drafts. And she pretty well says that. She says, my first drafts are pretty ugly. And she talks about what they look like. And so I really like that. I really liked our classmate who had the Obama speech. And I too have used Stephen King before in class with On Writing. But for what I have and where we are for my class, I think this video would work just fine. And then I'll probably do 2 rounds. I like to do, I want to do multiple rounds of revision so that they understand that this is all part of the process, that you revise, you revise, you revise. So we'll do the first round and they're going to look for, you know, do you have complete sentences? Does it make sense? Are you using strong language? And just kind of the basics, and then the kids will then revise. And I use threshold for 2 for this one, and then they'll go back to round 2, and then they'll come back, and now they'll look even closer. They'll look at it with a deeper magnifying glass. Do you have college level language? Are you using figurative language? What can your peer editors find, and does it add to the personal narrative, or does it seem cliche or trite, or does it add to a deeper meaning or another level of understanding of this writing? Okay, and then evaluating and responding. I didn't want to do a basic rubric for this where, you know, you must do this and you must do that. I want it to be a realization. I want them to come to me and talk, and let's review, and let's talk about what you need to do to keep improving it, because this is a project that they will have till the end. So just for this discussion, I will ask them questions about their diction. Did you have indiction? Was your diction suitable for your audience? Do you write in active voice? Do you use college level language? You know, when I talk about diction, I know I'm just saying words, but are you using informal diction? Are you using slang? Are you know what you're doing and why you're doing it? And that's the most important thing. Tone, what do you hope your audience learns about you? What figurative language, what are you proud of using? What do you know you need to improve upon? Do you utilize high-level literary devices such as allusions? How does your punctuation control your reader? Because we talk about syntax. So, you know, they should be aware of all of this. And I really want them to see themselves as writers. And I am a helpful editor. That's what I'm hoping. And I definitely thought of this with Downs, where he says, you know, we need to be able to let them understand that they're writers and this is all part of writing. So just for this task would be 40 points. And as we advance through the project, and as they get further towards the product and the end result, that's when I think the major grades for, do you have this, do you have that? And I think I'll let the kids help me craft that, you know, from their own writing, from their own experience, from them knowing what they're doing. And so that's kind of my thought. And here are my sources that I use. I found several, of course: Brook, Downs, Lunsford, Rosen or Rusen. I really like those. So there you are. That's my first part. Thank you.